This time around we're going to look at packages, components, and configurations. The package declaration is shown here. Package name is, and then one or more package declarative items, and package and optionally package name. While the package body syntax is as follows: package body, package name is, and then one or more package body declarative items, and package body, then package name. Here we have an example of a package declaration and package body declaration. The package name is DSP package, and you see that we have two things here. We have a data type definition for unsigned word as being an array of type bit from 15 down to 0. And we have a function plus, double quotes, plus double quotes, which here is passed a left and right operand, both of type unsigned word, and the function returns an unsigned word. Here in the package declaration, we only specify the function interface, what the inputs and outputs are. The package body has the definition of function plus, including how the plus function is performed. This is basically, as we saw before, operator overloading. We pass two parameters to it, left and right. We return an unsigned word. Our result, or we have a variable called result, and a variable called carry bit. Then we have a begin statement, and we have a for loop, which basically steps through our unsigned word operands one bit at a time and assigns the result bit also one bit at a time. If the ultimate, or if the result is overflowed, then we assert that we have overflowed this operation as well. When we go to use the package, we have to be able to refer to it first. The syntax is use library name. Library name is the library in which the package is been pre-packaged by the tool itself. The package name also dot either all, which is a keyword, or if you're interested in a specific aspect of the package, you can refer to it by identifier name. Here's an example of the use statement for our package, DSP package. Now, DSP package, when it was synthesized or elaborated, it was not placed in any special library. It was merely compiled and placed by default into the library work. That's why we see here use work.dsppackage.all for everything within the package. Then we have a entity declaration where we have operands, op1 and op2 going in of unsigned word, which is defined in our package, and op3, which is an output of unsigned word. And we basically have a single concurrent statement here where op1 is added to op2, and the result is placed in op3. Now remember that the plus operand is basically overloaded and is present in our DSP package. Let's chew through some standard library packages. In the std library, there are packages. The standard package is the one we've talked about before, which is basically part of the language, which gives us our bit vector, integer, real, time, The predefined package text.io in the library std provides a number of useful types and operations for reading and writing text files, that is, files of character strings. The env package, which has been introduced as starting with VHDL 2008, includes operations for accessing the simulation environment itself. Here are the packages for the IEEE library. std logic 1164. The IEEE 1164 standard multi-value logic system for VHDL model interoperability was created back in 1993. It allowed for VHDL models of synthesizable hardware to be defined consistently between vendors. However, it didn't define standards for the representation of signed and unsigned numbers. Synopsys created the packages standard logic arith, standard logic signed and unsigned, which define both unsigned and signed data types. The package became the default standard until the IEEE created numeric standard std and numeric bit. Numeric std utilized or sat on top of the 1164 package, whereas the numeric bit did not. The math real and math complex packages provide transcendental functions, trig, and the like for both real and complex number operations. We took a look at components, their declarations and instantiations before. Now we're going to look at configurations as well. They allow us to provide a hierarchical architecture to our designs if they become more sophisticated. We've looked at this before, component declarations. The syntax is basically similar to that of the entity statement. Component identifier is then a port list and a generic list, followed by end component identifier. The component declaration is made in the declarative part of an architecture, and the syntax is, again, very similar to that of the entity. There's actually 3 different ways to do a component instantiation. Here's the syntax for all 3. Component instance name, component optionally, and the component name, followed by an association list for the generic and port association. Or component instance name and configuration, and the configuration name, also with the association lists. Or component instance name entity, followed by the entity name, and optionally a associated architecture name, which specific architecture to associate with this particular entity. Here's the syntax for a simplified configuration declaration. Configuration name for a specific entity name, for architecture name, and then we have one or more for component name, binding indication, and we'll talk about that in the next slide, the end of the for, followed by end configuration name. Where binding indication can be one of 3 things: use, entity name, with an optional architecture to bind that specific architecture to the entity, or use configuration name with the association lists, or use open